And with me now, the man who knows all the challenges in the Middle East, the chairman of the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee, New Jersey Democrat Bob Menendez. Senator, thanks for being with me this morning.
Good to be with you.
What's your reaction to this attack, and what's your level of concern about the kind of violence it could trigger?
Well, this is the most brutal and condemnable act that one could imagine in a house of worship. To have such violence is just absolutely beyond any sense of human dignity. And I am concerned that every action breeds a reaction. And this is a time, in my mind, for President Abbas to make sure that he shows leadership among the Palestinian people. And at the same time, to make sure that as we are, certainly our hearts go out to the families of those who lost a loved one, including U.S. citizens who were worshiping in the synagogue. You know, we have to work to try to diffuse the violence and at the same time think of a pathway forward. But it is condemnable to see acts of violence, particularly in places of worship.
Yeah. I want to move you from Israel to Iran, Senator. The deadline for a nuclear deal is next Monday. You want to make sure any deal prevents Iran from building a nuclear bomb. Do you think you're going to get that?
Well, we'll have to wait to see, Jose, but I don't know that as the negotiations sit right now, that they are anywhere near the type of deal that I certainly could support. Iran, with a nuclear as a nuclear threshold state with the power to have nuclear energy for ultimately conversion into nuclear weapons, which the world is convinced that they were on a path to doing, is a threat to the national interest and security of the United States. It's a threat to a whole host of our allies in the region. As I've traveled the region, many countries have said to me, well, Senator, if Iran ends up with the type of nuclear power that can move towards nuclear weapons under the theory of mutual self-destruction, we're going to have to try to achieve the same goals, which means an arms race and a tinderbox of the world. And of course, our ally, the State of Israel, I believe it would be an existential threat to them. So the reality is that we cannot, in our own national interest and security, permit Iran to do this. And I am concerned that every benchmark that we originally stated in our negotiating posture has been moved closer and closer to the Iranians. So, of course, I'll judge a deal when a deal is had, but I'm not optimistic that a deal will be had by the 24th.
Senator, I want to talk lastly on immigration. Are you concerned that if the president uses executive action to pass reform, it could in some way affect the possibility of some immigration reform down the line? I know you actually sent a letter yesterday talking about this issue.
Well, look, clearly what the Senate did a year and a half ago in a strong bipartisan effort, 67 votes. We don't get 67 votes on critical, contentious issues in the Senate on a normal basis, as you know. That happened a year and a half ago. House of Representatives have been sitting on it for a year and a half, hasn't voted on that, hasn't voted on their own vision of what immigration reform is. I believe the president, in the absence of any Republican action in the House of Representatives, which they control, should use his executive powers, as 11 presidents since President Eisenhower on 39 different occasions has done over the last 60 years. And so this is not a unique power that this president is exercising. It's been exercised by Republicans and Democrats alike in the most recent period of time. You know, first President Bush and President Reagan used it. So there is no reason why this president should not use it. If the Republicans are concerned about the use of executive action, they just need to use their own power and exercise a vote on either the Senate bipartisan immigration reform or their own vision.
Senator Bob Menendez, thank you very much for your time. Always a pleasure to see you, sir.
Thank you.